Indian Ocean, part of the archipelago, Chagos Archipelago. It's owned by the British. They lease it to the United States Navy and Air Force, I believe, and other logistical efforts. We got 6 B-2 bombers there, apparently, and we've got B-1Bs there. And it's just a really important strategic location. It's pretty incredible. Things are really gearing up in Iran here. I wanted to get to a quick story, though. Here on Long Island in Massapequa Park, there is, because New York State is crazy. And the Board of Education at the state level made it, you can't use Indian mascots anymore for your schools. And there's pushback. Massapequa Park is one of them. Their symbol is a Takapusha Indian. And it's a controversy, but it was their symbol for like 60 years or so, for a long time. But it was in honor of excellence. It was in honor of the American Indian. It's not an insult. The state education board banned any names that are Indian related, and the Massapequa School District pushed back and dismissed the district's case. But Trump reached out recently and weighed in on the issue. This whole thing is absolutely ridiculous. Now, this seal on the screen here, by the way, my mother, 70 years ago almost, when she was 13 years old, designed the logo for the village of Massapequa Park. It's where a lot of cops and firefighters commute to Manhattan from. It's a working class community. It's a great place to live. But she won that art contest when she was 13, and the village of Massapequa Park adopted it as their village seal. Just a little trivia there for you. But that's a Takapusha Indian in their logo. And my mother drew that in honor of the Indian tribes that inhabited Long Island before the settlers came here in the 1600s. What's going on is really crazy here. Everybody's like unhinged. And, even like the Cleveland Indians, they were named for one of their players who was a Penobscot Indian, Louis Sockalexis, a 26-year-old member of the Penobscot tribe, I think in Maine. He was the first Native American Major League Baseball player in 1897, and he played for the Cleveland Spiders. And the Cleveland Spiders changed their name for him to the Cleveland Indians. And then they go in like 2021, because they're a bunch of idiots, and change the name to Guardians. What are they, Guardians of the Galaxy? Who cares about the Guardians? The Cleveland Indians, nobody thought it was an insult to the Indians. It was an honor of a great player, a great man. You'd think they want to, lift that up and honor it. But instead they caved to the vicious left here. It's really nuts. I wanted to get to a little flashback moment for you guys. I spent a lot of time covering, 100 plus Trump rallies around the country here. And I ran across Wilmington, North Carolina rally I did a year and a half ago about, and this is a flashback from the campaign trail and explains why Trump got elected. Democrats crossed over to vote for him. Check out this clip again. Testify, right?
Yeah, I can do that.
What do you want to testify about today?
I'm originally from Kentucky. I've been here in North Carolina for 3 years. And even in 2016, when I was still a Democrat, I voted for Trump.
Wow.
I voted for him again.
2016, you voted for Trump?
Yeah, I voted for him again the last
Why did you decide you couldn't take the Obama administration?
Everything was just crazy. And when Trump got in, everything got so much better. The economy and everything. And I went to the store the other day and I was going to buy a pack of wieners to grill out. $8.
So it's not your father's Democratic Party, right?
Gosh, no.
Anymore?
No.
Wow. And where do you live?
I live in Wilmington.
What were you going to say?
They would crucify Kennedy if he were alive today and president. They would.
Well, they're crucifying RFK, the Democrat.
There you go. Absolutely.
Right? No Secret Service protection, trying to get him thrown off the ballot.
There's nothing I would not put past the Democrats at this point.
So the Republicans had 16 candidates in 2016, and last time in 2020, and a ton of candidates this year. Why can't the Democrats allow other candidates on the ballot with them?
They're afraid. They don't have anything to run on.
So who's stealing democracy?
The Democrats.
But they say Trump is.
Yeah.
Is Trump doing that?
Oh, gosh, no. If Trump does not win this coming election, we're done. America as we know it is done. Yeah. And I've already made arrangements. If Trump doesn't win, I'm leaving the country. I'm out of here.
It's one of my favorite moments in my life is interviewing the great people across America, the hardworking people. And that's the demographic that elected Trump, along with the young people who can't pursue the American dream, paying off loans until they're 40 for college, and can't buy a house, even if they make $100,000+ a year. And, young people who necessarily weren't MAGA came out, like in North Carolina, and put Trump in office. And he wins in all 7 swing states because of it. I wanted to talk about Earth Day for a moment here. My birthday is on Earth Day, which was April 22nd. It was formed, Earth Day, in 1970 by Richard Nixon while he was president. So I was born on the first day of Earth Day in 1970. Now I'm a builder. Go figure. But Gaylord Nelson was a Democratic senator of Wisconsin. He's considered to be the father of Earth Day movement, but Nixon proclaimed it in 1970 after a huge California oil spill. But I just wanted to say, out of that came some good things, right? The Clean Water Act, which Nixon vetoed, by the way. He was overridden by Congress. The Clean Water Act had significant benefits, and they also started the EPA out of that. And the good part of it is that, New York Harbor, which was filled with raw sewage and everything, is a much cleaner waterway today because of the Clean Water Act. And the Clean Water Act doesn't allow sewage, human waste, and other toxic chemicals to be put into the waterways. So it has a great purpose, and it has accomplished a lot. And the EPA does a lot of good things like protecting the wetlands and stuff like that. Now, I have big issues with the EPA of the past, and thank God Lee Zeldin's in there because I think he's making some important changes that, if they're going to take your property, they don't always honor the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution for a public taking for fair compensation at market rates, and they devalue your property, and then they kind of steal it, and then the EPA was doing things like for a builder, there would be like a puddle of water on a property, and they were calling it a kettle hole or wetlands, which was crazy too. So thank God Lee Zeldin is cutting red tape, just like Trump did in his first term in the EPA. But the Clean Water Act was a very important part of American history here. And, but you got PBS, they're airing a special, with Ali Rogan and interviewing Amajulat Ajasa, talking about environmental justice and, our policy is racist when it comes to the environment and all this other nonsense. And Lee Zeldin weighed in and said, environmental justice sounds like a good idea, but in reality, it's been used primarily as an excuse to fund left-wing activism instead of spending money on actual remediation on environmental problems. Like MRC Newsbusters points out, which is a great website. You got to go to the Newsbusters. They point out that PBS said back in 1990 that the Earth only had 10 years left to respond to global warming, or there would be enormous calamities. Well, we're 35 years later, and that's not the case. There are weather events, but you got to remember, increased weather events combined with more impervious surface, there's more developed land in the United States. So when these storms happen there's going to be more damage, there's going to be more flooding, there's going to be more loss of life. There's nowhere for the water to go. So it's a mix. It's a mix of both, to be fair. I just wanted to point that out about, Richard Nixon was actually an environmentalist in a lot of ways. And without him, we wouldn't have had, some environmental controls that do protect our, environment. But it also has to be fair, and it can't be an obstruction to, legal development that complies with code, and it can't be used as a tool to steal people's land. And there was a lot of Supreme Court decisions, Loveladies Harbor, Lucas versus the state of South Carolina, and I've been working with this type of stuff for about 37 years. And the discharge extraction permits that are across the United States do protect the waterways from dumping pollutants into the waterways. You can't dump raw sewage. It has to be treated first before it gets released back into the the groundwater, percolates back through the soil, and recharges to be clean drinking water again. It's very important. But any takings have to be at fair compensation. So I got a great show for you today. I've got a lot of stuff on the tariffs here, and we're going to be back with more. And I just want to thank everybody for joining us, watching us, joining the RAV family. Get on the chat. You can watch us on Facebook. You can watch us on Rumble. Go to the Getter chat at Real AM Voice. You're watching Breaking Point on Real Americans Voice News, and now we have a message from Birch Gold. Thank you again. As countries around the world move away from the U.S. dollar, get gold today for 5,000 years. Gold has withstood inflation, geopolitical turmoil, stock market crashes, and the great news is you can still get it. You can own gold and silver in a tax-sheltered retirement account. Birch Gold makes it easy to convert your IRA or 401k into an IRA in precious metals. Just text the word America to 989898 to claim your free info kit on gold. 20 years experience in converting these IRAs and 401ks into precious metal IRAs. Birch Gold can help you today. Protect yourself today. Text the word America to 989898, an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Thousands of happy customers and countless 5-star reviews. Secure your future with gold today. Start today with your free info kit. There's no obligation. Text the word America to 989898 today.
Yes!
Summon Dale!
Who's Dale?
American Home Show now provides video chat with live repair experts for home fixes over the phone. Let's go fix that oven.
Okay, Dale.
Sign up today at ahs.com. Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
You push it. You try to slide it. You even try to hold them shut. But your doors just won't stay closed no matter what. Introducing Ruby Monkey Magnets. Brand new ultra-thin magnetic plates that will keep your doors and drawers shut. And now may be your last chance to get them at a low price. Just peel to reveal the super strong adhesive. Place the monkey, then the magnet, and close. Installation is that simple, and now you have a door that will stay shut. So forget drawers that won't stay closed. Every drawer stays closed. It's so fast and so easy. Even large sliding doors or cordless window blinds. Everything stays closed with Monkey Magnets. The secret is the ultra-strong industrial magnet that's powerful attraction keeps your doors and drawers securely shut. These magnets are so strong they can hold this hammer that's nearly 5 pounds. Plus they're super thin. They'll fit just about anywhere, and they stay out of sight. Even screw them in for a more permanent solution. Monkey Magnets are perfect for cabinets, dresser drawers, sliding closet doors, accordion doors, and more. They're made of ultra-durable metal, so even your outdoor problems are solved in an instant because they're corrosion and rust resistant. Use them anywhere outside the house, even on that stubborn mailbox that won't stay shut. Monkey Magnets can stick anywhere, from drywall to all types of wood frames, metal surfaces, and more. Call or go online now to get 8 sets of Monkey Magnets for only $9.99. Monkey Magnets are guaranteed to last 10 years or your money back. But wait, due to rising costs and supply chain shortages, this may be your last chance to get Monkey Magnets at this low price. There is a strict limit of 1 full house pack per order while supplies last. So order now to keep all your doors and drawers shut tight with Monkey Magnets.
Call 1-800-519-4810. That's 1-800-519-4810. Call or visit getmonkeymagnets.com. So call 1-800-519-4810. Order now.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and bookstores. We'll even promote your book.
Call 1-800-319-0257. That's 1-800-319-0257.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. You're watching Breaking Point on Real America's Voice News. I hope you had a wonderful Easter. I had a great time with my family and my grandkids. And we cooked for an army, a big 18-pound leg of lamb, some homemade fettuccine Alfredo, the real way, just unbelievable. So I hope you enjoyed the holiday with your family right now. There's a lot going on across the country as races start to heat up. Primaries next year, elections next year for Congress, some Senate races. Can the Congress keep it red? But there's some hot governor's races, gubernatorial races around the country. And one of them is going to be for Tim Walz's seat in the great state of Minnesota. And we have a candidate running for a Minnesota governor with us right now. Welcome to the show, Brad Kohler. How are you?
Thanks, David. How are you, sir?
I'm great. So we've been talking for a couple of days here, and you have an incredible story. And you're running for governor. Why are you running for governor?
Well, there's a lot going on here in this state that's going in the wrong direction. And you know what they say, when things go wrong, don't go with them. So I decided to jump in, try to make a difference rather than talk about it. I'm not one of those people who like to, just sit there and complain about things. I'm a doer. And so I've been learning the politics for the past 4 years now. And my team and I are ready to jump in and take over and make a difference here in Minnesota.
Sure. Now, Brad, you're a UFC fighter. You're a professional fighter. You were state wrestling champ in your high school, and opposing high school was Jim Jordan, right? When you're in your youth, correct?
Well, Jim Jordan and I graduated the same year. We were both state champions. I unfortunately was in the higher division, in the much bigger brackets than the lower division. So we were Division I. And he was Division II, but he was an incredible wrestler, 4-time state champion, All-American. Jim Jordan's a hell of a man, let alone congressman. I admire him a lot.
Now, they call you the godfather of MMA in Minnesota. You might have that in common with Trump in the sense that Trump saved MMA and UFC when New York City wouldn't allow the venue and used his casinos in Atlantic City to host, right?
That is correct. And thank God for Donald Trump. And so, yeah, I was in the UFC and came here, wanted to bring the sport to Minnesota when it was banned in many states, went before city councils, went before the city halls, and got it legalized in many of the cities and put on over 200 shows here in Minnesota. Okay.
So you have an incredible story. You were telling me you were injured in a ultralight accident. You got impaled in part of the plane. You lived in Japan, and you had some legal problems. But you've since straightened out your life. Tell us about it so our audience gets to know you.
Yeah, long story short, I went through a short period of time where things were, I just didn't protect myself from myself. And one of those things when you get to a position of, you're on the top of the world, on the biggest stage in the world, and some people do stupid things. I didn't protect myself from myself and was around the wrong people, and ended up in making some bad decisions. Although my decisions that were made really were, long story. It's in my book. I wrote a book about the whole thing called "Built for This." It's on Amazon, also on my website at bradkohler.com, and trying to get that story out there about how our justice system is really upside down and how it really does affect people's lives in the wrong way in some cases.
Right. But those legal troubles are in your past. And I know we spoke, frankly about it. But you're a fighter. And you're going to fight for Minnesotans, right? What kind of damage is Tim Walz doing to the people of Minnesota, and what will you change?
Yeah, we're not talking about the spawn of Satan. This is Satan, and this is the guy that changed our flag without voting on it, this, that, and the other. He changed the flag and the state seal of Minnesota without any knowledge of the people of Minnesota. And if he moves up any higher in government, he'll change the American flag too. This is a guy that wants to have an abortion up to 5 minutes after death. This is a guy raising our taxes through the roof. Nobody can afford to live here anymore. Businesses are leaving. He's got the red flag up for immigration. He's 3 times over the forecasted limit for immigration here. And now they're giving free health care, 100% health care to over 17,000 immigrations. And they've just took away $1 billion from our senior citizens, veterans here. It's just ridiculous.
Okay, so you're a businessman. You don't like high taxes. You're an entrepreneur. Tell us about your business career. I know you're in the restaurant business, I believe. And how does that reflect with the devastating George Floyd riots when Tim Walz was governor? So what do you share with your constituency and your small business owners in common?
Well, the fact that they had the police stand down that did not stand by the police is ridiculous. Some of the things that happened here in Minnesota, it wasn't just George Floyd and the police. There were many businesses and people died. Tim Walz is responsible for ground zero of many cities being destroyed. This man needs to be incarcerated and punished. In business here, we certainly do the best we can, but the taxes are just way too high and through the roof. So,
yeah. Well, you're also telling me that Kim Potter, who accidentally shot the driver who wasn't complying with her gun instead of her taser, she's a neighbor of yours, right? You were talking about that, and tell us about that.
Well, I was for the police being, seeing due process, but they have a very tough job, and we need to support the police. We're talking about pulling over criminals. We're talking about, and not that I think anyone should be shot or killed, but I'm sorry to say this, but negative actions bring negative results. If you comply with the police officers, they're more than cool. They're more than human to respond to you in a polite way. But if you provoke them, they want to go home to their families as well. And I want to make sure that happens as the next governor here.
Yeah, Minnesota, similar to New York, we have a bill pending right now, social justice reform. Cops will not be allowed to pull over people anymore and execute their job. And, I always told my kids, 10 and 2 on the wheel. Don't get out of your car. Don't create a confrontation. You're already getting off on the wrong foot, and you're setting it up for a potential disaster. I think there's a lot of disrespect going on out there. Not that that's a reason somebody should be killed necessarily, but definitely the situations escalate, I believe. Tell us about what you had a large contract for fighting in Japan with the UFC. Is that what happened?
Actually, not with the UFC. I fought over there for rings and pride, and also the King of Kings. And then I had pro wrestling contracts as well. So I did quite a bit in the athletic world. Luckily, I'm still pretty healthy. I'm blessed that way, but had a great time. I love the UFC. One of the first things I'd like to do is bring Dana White and the UFC back to Minnesota, because our liberal boxing commission here is the worst in the world. I'm sure he can tell you that himself. Wow, crazy. Now, you had this ultralight accident. Tell us about what kind of damage was done to you. Well, I was on takeoff. I've been flying for years since I was 16, and just one of those incidents. I was about 90 feet up. The exhaust pipe cracked, and I lost power, came down pretty hard as the small aluminum poles that hold the small aircraft together, like 10 poles, snapped in the front that held the engine. It snapped, impaled me. The prop almost cut my knee off. And it took me quite a while to recover from that. But I was actually in a fight contract for 3 fights in Japan that this is what started the demise of my life back then, where things happened because I ended up getting hooked on fentanyl and just wasn't aware of what was going on. Prescription fentanyl, by the way. And so it took me a long time to even start walking, let alone working out again. Although doctors said I would never fight again, I came back and fought in 2012 when I was 47 years old. Okay. We have about a minute and a half left, 2 minutes. Just tell me in a nutshell about the Minnesota GOP. I dealt a lot in the blue wall states. I was in Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota. I must have been to just those 3 states 15 times during the Trump campaign. A lot of big schism in the GOP. Are they MAGA in Minnesota, the GOP? They're really not MAGA. I am, but they are not. And that's one of the problems that we have here. When we have that Republican officials, not the current chairs, but the previous chair with a congressman hiring consultants to raise money to pay Democrats to beat our own Republicans, that's when we have a problem. Right now, we have a new chair involved. His name is Alec Plekish. I believe he's a good man. I have faith in him. And though I think he's a former military guy, I think he's going to turn things around. But he's going to need more time. He's going to need a lot of help.
Okay. Tell our viewers the name of your book, where they can buy it, and where can they follow you on your campaign trail?
BradKohler.com is where you can get my books right here. It's called Built for This. I'm sorry about the blur. It's called Built for This by Brad Kohler. And it is about my life and the trials and tribulations and how I got to the governor's race here. And you can follow me on social media, X, Getter, of course, Facebook and Instagram.
All right, Brad, I want to thank you for coming on here. We're going to follow this race closely. Maybe there'll be a primary next year, but keep up your fight. And I like the message. So we'll have you back as things go on, okay?
David, God bless you and God bless America.
Thank you so much, Brad. Everybody, when we come back, I've got more great stuff for you. I want to thank you for watching. I'm David Zere. You're watching Breaking Point on Real America's Voice News. Don't go anywhere.
Poverty is unimaginable. There are people who are struggling.
This is where she washes the dishes.
If you're ever going to allow your Christian faith to rise and to do something for God's chosen people, now is the time.
This is the home of Galina. She's 96 years old.
This is what she had to eat for today.
She has one pot with water and wheat.
My father was killed by the Nazis, and I was an orphan. I didn't know about God. But now, in the cold, hungry nights, I pray for food to the God I've never known. There are good people that love you.
You see the tears. Scripture says joy can come in the morning, and you can be the reason.
If you will bless these hurting children of Israel, you will receive God's blessing in return. Your urgent gift today of $25 will help rush a survival food box filled with life-saving essentials. If you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives. Call, scan, or go online now.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, I don't know how much longer she could have waited for us to come.
I can't even grow my food anymore. What will happen to me? I'm doomed to starve.
Tens of thousands of elderly Holocaust survivors in the former Soviet Union are living in extreme poverty, hungry, and forgotten. But through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we can bring them hope.
Eggs. It's my favorite food. May you be blessed.
You say to them, we see you and we're here to help.
If you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Join the over 2 million Americans who love this country. Join the over 2 million members who love America. Join AMAC.
Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
Attention homeowners. Are you behind on your mortgage payments? Is the bank threatening to take your home? Is your home worth less than you owe? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you need to call this number right now.
Call 800-714-8615.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. You're watching Breaking Point on Real America's Voice News. The tariffs, it's on the top of everybody's minds. We'll see what countries come to the table. We'll see what happens with China. But, we definitely want more manufacturing in the United States. And here to discuss that, maybe some limitations on that, and other issues relating to the tariffs. I have John Lee with us. He's a toy industry expert. John, welcome to the show.
I'm happy to be here, David. Thanks for inviting me. It's a real honor.
Great to meet you. And your claim to fame is you were Thomas the Tank Engine, right?
Well, I don't know if I was Thomas, but he was a friend of mine. So no, I had a partnership with the Thomas Enterprise back when I started my toy company and had a license to produce what became the centerpiece of the Thomas brand, the Thomas wooden train system.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other things. So yeah, I'm Thomas and I are good buddies.
Okay. So I know a lot of things are going to be impacted if there's no agreement reached with China. I want to discuss with you, do we have a sophisticated enough supply chain to address shortfalls on components and getting product here or making it here in the United States while these issues are trying to be resolved?
Absolutely not for the toy industry. And I think there's a lot of other industries that are in what I would call low cost, high impact product that have become, very reliant on the supply chain coming out of China for the last, 20, 30 years. And there really isn't the infrastructure to be able to make and deliver that kind of product here. Not certainly nowhere close to the cost.
So I know you are reaching out to the Trump administration. You're trying to convey a message to them because, if we have to live with some tariffs, the toy industry can survive. But what happens to it if this doesn't get resolved?
Well, the average toy in America retails it for about $12. And the factory cost is about $3. So if you have 145% tariff, it more than doubles the factory cost. And depending upon how that flows through to retail, you're going to have, at least a $12 toy going to $17 and maybe over $20. And that just puts a lot of buying out of the equation.
Yeah. Well, I understand that. And you were saying, I guess, the argument has been in the past that we can't get people to make basic level production type things, or, pick the lettuce or, do, menial manufacturing type of things because it's not like a living wage. But when and so they buy from other countries, right, or have it manufactured abroad.
Yeah.
But some small businesses thrive because, they're making money on the marketing, the technology, and the other stuff. So tell us about your feelings about why is it okay to import cheap goods to the United States?
Well, you have to take an upside down view of it. Okay, so producing a toy at $3 factory cost. If you've never been to China, I've been there a lot. I had a 1 million square foot factory partnership with a group that made little wooden toys. When you go to the factory, you see literally hundreds and hundreds of people sitting at desks, assembling and painting. And, they're working for, obviously a much lower labor cost. That labor component, that labor pool doesn't exist in America anymore. And what's happened as a result of decades of moving the lowest cost part of the economic equation offshore, not only to China, but other countries as well, India, Vietnam, it has allowed us to make really good product for a lot less, to deliver more, in the case of toys, to families and children. And as a result of that, what's built up over the decades here in the States is an infrastructure of innovation, marketing, sales, all the things that go with delivering the rest of the equation to the consumer. And those jobs are high paying. And, there's about 600,000 jobs in America that are related to the toy industry, both direct and indirect. And those jobs are all the higher paying end of the food chain in producing product and getting it to the consumer. And by driving the cost of production down, we've been able to do a lot more, deliver a lot more value to families, and really invest in innovation where the higher paying jobs are.
Right. But you want more manufacturing in the U.S. You want fairness. You want fairness in trade, don't you?
Of course. And I think, look, China's not been a friend of ours when it comes to, the trade relationship. They steal our IP. They make it very challenging. And I think there's a lot of manufacturing that could be brought back to the States, but manufacturing for the higher, more sophisticated products. For the lower cost products, there's no way that's going to come back here.
What's the temporary solution to address this problem while we get our supply chain in order?
I think that a more surgical approach to tariffs is in order. So just take toys as an example. The tariff on the toy industry, 96% of the toy companies in America are small to mid-size. And half of them say that they will go out of business as a result of this tariff thing. I mean, the impact is going to be profound. They're already canceling orders. Factories are holding back product. And a recent survey of small to mid-sized toy companies said that they say they believe that as many as 45% could go out of business. So it not only has an economic impact, but think of the impact on families. So I think the approach needs to be more surgical. Look at those areas where tariffs could have an impact on a positive basis, but on important categories like toys, it just makes no sense at all. So I think a more reasoned surgical approach to applying tariffs is in order here. Right. And I think, frankly, the toy industry has coalesced globally to say, look, other countries have said we'll go to zero tariff on toys if America will. So I think there's a case to be made for being much more focused and much more surgical about where you apply tariffs or not.
You're approaching the Trump administration. You're reaching out, to Susie Wiles and others. What's your message to them?
Well, I have a unique message. Back in 22 years ago, I actually connected with Donald Trump around for the toy industry. I was at the time I was CEO of my company, but I was also chairman of the creditors committee for the FAO Schwarz bankruptcy. And the CEO of FAO Schwarz and I were, collaborating on what's the best outcome for FAO Schwarz. He suggested that we approach Donald Trump, which we did. And we had several conversations with him. He was very enthused about adding the Trump brand to the toy industry through FAO Schwarz. And we got pretty far along with it, but because of the bankruptcy and other issues unrelated to those conversations, the deal didn't happen. But nonetheless, what Donald Trump, now President Trump, expressed was his enthusiasm for the industry and the impact his brand could have on the toy industry, and particularly for all the great things that you could bring to kids and families. So he was very enthused about it. That conversation didn't go anywhere, but I would like to remind him of the enthusiasm he had for the impact he could have on families, and have him take a fresh look at what the Trump brand means to the toy industry. Yeah, some of my greatest memories were going to FAO Schwarz by Fifth Avenue in Manhattan, right near Trump Tower. Spectacular place. So I hope you have success in your endeavors. And John Lee, are you on social media? Can people follow you? Yes, I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook, but certainly LinkedIn. All right, great. I want to thank you so much for coming on. And then after your endeavors, why don't you get back to me and we'll have you back on and see where these tariffs go. Yeah, I'm going to a fundraiser in Mar-a-Lago next week. I hope to run into President Trump and Susie Wiles, and we'll see where it goes, but I'll keep you posted. All right. Best of luck to you. Thank you so much, John. All right. Thank you, Dave. All right, everybody. I want to bring you a message from switch2usa.com. Go to switch
switch2usa.com, and we'll be right back.
We always love seeing Maria from Switch to USA. How are you?
I am doing very well. I am so pumped that we are here in Long Island. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great. And I see you everywhere. I saw you in Schnecksville, Pennsylvania, Wildwood, New Jersey. Is there anywhere you don't go?
There is nowhere we don't go. Absolutely.
You've been a supporter of Real America's Voice, Breaking Point, for some time now. Tell us about Switch to USA.
Well, Switch to USA is the mom and pop American manufacturer, and we are the parallel economy for all of your essentials. And you never know when you might need another supply chain. Wink, wink. So
all made on American soil by American factory workers.
Amen to that. We have to rebuild our economy, and we are doing it.
Where can our viewers find you?
Please come to switch2usa.com.
Switch2usa.com. We love Maria. So great to see you.
Thank you so much, David. We love you too. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
We all want to make a difference in our country and make change, but we don't all have the ability to do so. A lot of people are busy. They can't join school boards. They can't get on borough council, but they can change where they shop. And it's just shopping. It's that simple.
We're going to link arms and we're going to shop right here at this American factory. They make the products and they're all natural and they're good for us and they're affordable. Everything's made here in the USA.
There's nothing worse than losing your dog before their time.
That's why I created Dr. Marty Nature's Blend, designed to help dogs with everything from digestive issues to itching, even moving better.
Nature's Blend works because it's freeze-dried. So instead of destroying the nutrients with high heat, they all get right into your dog's body.
Take it from a veterinarian with over 50 years of experience saving dogs' lives. I have never seen a food make this much impact on a dog's health.
For a limited time, get up to 54% off Dr. Marty Nature's Blend, plus a free gift with our special TV offer. Call or go to drmartypets.com/TV.
When surprise breakdowns happen, American Home Shield will be there to fix or replace parts of the systems and appliances you rely on every day. They help protect your time and money by connecting you with qualified pros and helping pay for covered repairs or replacements. AHS offers flexible and affordable plans for every home. Sign up today and get 50% off. Visit ahs.com or call 833-PLAN-AHS for this limited time offer.
Stay tuned to get a free automatic toilet bowl cleaner from Mermaid. Your sink stopper's broken, but fixing a drain is such a pain. Not anymore. Introducing Mermaid Drain Magic, the instant solution to most broken drains. Simply remove and replace. In just seconds, you can fill and drain with a simple press of a button. Drain Magic makes replacing your old, broken, rusty, even missing sink stoppers fast and easy.
Practically took me 5 seconds to replace. It absolutely made my sink look like brand new.
Honestly, I couldn't believe it. How could it work so well, look so good, and install so quickly?
And forget clogging, because Drain Magic's anti-clogging basket helps catch debris before it goes down the drain. When the basket's full, just discard. Helps prevent clogs in your sink by catching hair, food, even jewelry. Drain Magic uses a silicone gasket that creates a watertight seal without messy plumber's putty. Look, this sink was filled hours ago and the water still remains. Press the spring-loaded stopper and the water's gone. Made of brass and finished in high-quality chrome, Drain Magic is rust-resistant and built to last.
It's made out of metal, not plastic, and it actually has some weight to it. Yeah, this is the real deal.
It just looks like a new sink now.
Order your 2-in-1 drain solution, Mermaid Drain Magic, today for only $19.99. And with every order, you're going to get a Mermaid automatic toilet bowl cleaner absolutely free. Just drop it in the tank for up to 3 months of hands-free cleaning. Mermaid's ultra-concentrated formula cleans and deodorizes with every flush. But wait, due to rising costs, this may be your last chance to get Mermaid Drain Magic at this incredibly low price with free Mermaid toilet bowl cleaner. There's a strict limit of 3. Call or click now to order.
Call 1-800-519-3206 or visit getdrainmagic.com. So call 1-800-519-3206 or visit getdrainmagic.com. Order now.
Welcome back. You're watching Real America's Voice News. I'm David Zere. We have another great guest with us today. We're trying to give all perspectives on what's going on with the tariffs here and where does it leave the United States and the health of our economy. And I have with us Spencer Morrison. He's the author of How Tariffs Reshore, RESHORE, How Tariffs Will Bring Our Jobs Home and Revive the American Dream. And Spencer's a lawyer and an intellectual. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, David. Thanks for having me on the program. It's a great honor.
Great to have you. I know Steve Bannon's a big fan of your book, calling it one of the most important books out there. So I've been all over the country with Real America's Voice in about 38 states. And I've seen the closed up factories and I've seen the storefronts boarded up, especially in the Rust Belt states. And also, Trump revived manufacturing, especially in like Toledo, Whirlpool, Jeep, and other companies came back to the U.S. What's the vision here for the tariffs, and how do we get back to being a world power in manufacturing?
Well, so this is really what President Trump is doing is he's reversing 50 years of the free trade experiment. So in 1974 and ever since then, America started running a trade deficit with the rest of the world, which means that we were buying more than we were selling. The cumulative value of that trade deficit, when you account for inflation, it's $25 trillion. So Americans have bought from foreign countries like China and Mexico, they bought $25 trillion more than they've sold. And the question is, how do we pay for that? Because we didn't trade anything for it. And we pay for it in two ways. Number one, we had to sell assets. So, like pawning off grandma's wedding ring to buy the groceries. That's sort of what it's like. So assets are, things that we made in the past that have value today. The biggest forms of assets that America's been selling are real estate. For example, last year, Americans sold $62 billion worth of real estate, including about $40 billion worth of housing, right? So this money, we spend it on goods, it comes back into the country, and it jacks up the housing prices. So you think you're getting cheap goods, but in reality, you're getting expensive mortgages.
Yeah.
On top of that, we're selling ownership of American companies. 17% of American companies are now foreign owned. So China is taking the money that we're paying them for the goods, and they're buying up American stock market. And they're targeting companies that are tech companies or industry, that have industrial applications. And then they're just getting all the technology for free. They buy up an ownership share in a company, and then they take the technology. It's not even really stealing because they own it. So, when we're talking about a massive amount of tech that's leaving the country, they estimate that something like $600 billion worth of American technology is stolen every year. That doesn't actually include all the tech that China's just getting for free because they're buying up American companies. It's totally crazy.
Sure.
It's a terrible deal.
Well, let me ask you a question. So it takes time, right? Trump brought back like 9,000 distribution centers and factories back to the U.S. in his first term. It's going to take time again for this stuff to happen. Do you think, and how much time does China have? Do you think China comes back to the table and they settle on a more reasonable tariff?
Well, here's the deal. It took 50 years to get here. So it's not going to be fixed overnight. There's some historical precedent. If you look back at the history of America before World War II, America was able to arm and industrialize pretty rapidly. It took a couple of years, though. Didn't happen overnight, but it's possible. So if the president has a concerted tariff agenda and an industrial, a coherent industrial policy, then it's definitely possible to reindustrialize quickly. But there's going to be some short-term pain for some long-term gain.
So my travels across America, everybody's hurting. Even if you have money, if you own a business, it's not the same. Your legacy costs have gone up. $45,000 a year for health insurance, workers' comp costs, Medicaid fraud in every blue state. That's massive, and it's really hard to be in small business. And we saw the diners get punished with the eggs, and thank God that's down. Other costs are coming down. I bought gas for $2.55 yesterday, which was great. I think that's going to come down. But how long can the American people go? And what kind of pain will they experience, because of the China situation? Because over 75 countries have already come back to the table, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's no question there's going to be some short-term pain. America runs a huge trade deficit with China. Last year, it was worth $300 billion. We buy everything from China, from forks to semiconductors to shoes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff. Like the stock, you go to Walmart, for example, you go to Target. The store, it's all stocked with stuff from China. So it's a problem. It's definitely a problem. But the reality is that we have to suffer the pain, because it's going to happen now, or it's going to happen in 10 years and it'll be way worse. The reality is that we're living in a consumption bubble right now. America is consuming far more than we produce. And that can't go on forever, because eventually we're going to run out of assets to sell and no one's going to buy our debt. And at that point, the economy craters. So what President Trump is doing, and I think very wisely doing, is he's deflating this bubble slowly with tariffs, right? We got to bring that trade deficit down and hopefully get to a position where we have a trade surplus. If we can do that, we can sort of navigate between the rocks with the ship before we crash. But if we don't do it now, we're never going to do it.
So, I have a 2023 Explorer, Ford Explorer. I still don't have the Wi-Fi Bluetooth chip CPU in the car. I can't get it. It's a $55,000 truck. I can't get Bluetooth in my Explorer.
I believe it.
So
because those chips all come from Taiwan.
Right. And during COVID, the supply chain issues. So I talked to a lot of trucking companies, they can't get, manufacturers can't get product to their factories to make goods that may be dependent on some foreign sources. What industries do you think will be the most impacted by that? And, it's a real issue, right?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest problems is the semiconductors. So, I mean, the modern world runs on computers. Okay, we're talking on the computer. There's a computer in your toaster. There's computers in everything. These silicone chips, and almost all these silicone chips, they're printed in Taiwan. They're printed in Taiwan, so we buy them from Taiwan. Now, here's the real problem, though, is that the industrial rot goes a lot deeper than that. If we wanted to print chips, America doesn't even make the photolithography machines to print those chips. Those actually all come from Holland, from the Netherlands, right? So they build the machinery to make the chips in Holland, they ship it to Taiwan, and then they sell the finished product to America. And America is completely cut out of the manufacturing process. And it's a disaster, because you wonder, what happens if there was a conflict or a supply chain disruption? So we have no choice. There's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, we got to make this up here. I hear there's new chip plants coming online in the United States, though, right? And AMD and other companies. I think NVIDIA has decided to make more product in the U.S. so far, right?
Well, that's because of Trump.
Yeah,
that's the tariffs at work. This is reshoring in action. Right? What President Trump is saying, he's saying, look, you're not going to be able to manufacture your products in China and then ship them to America. You got to build the factory in America. And that's what's happening.
How much time does Trump have to resolve these issues on the tariffs?
Well, unless he's able to run for a third term, he's got a couple of years left.
Yeah. No, I understand. Well, there's a lot involved here, and the general agreement on trade and tariffs, the GATT treaty's never been fair to the United States. And I remember when Bush Sr. gave 125 other countries equal voting power as the U.S., the largest manufacturer in the world, and then it became the WTO, right? And so we've definitely been taken advantage of for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to remember the context in which all of these sort of free trade agreements were originally conceptualized and negotiated was in the aftermath of World War II. Like, it stems back to the Marshall Plan to rebuild Europe.
Sure.
Right. So the idea was that we'd give Europeans access to American markets. And they would be able to impose tariffs on their products so they could reindustrialize. And then, that logic sort of got taken on to fight communism, right? There was countries that allied with America were given access to American markets. It's a big carrot to not going communist. Now, here's the deal, though. World War II was a long, long time ago, and the Soviet Union fell decades ago.
Right.
And yet all of these things are still in place. And the problem is that America can't afford to subsidize the entire world anymore. It's just not a viable strategy. China's economy, for example, they produce 3 times the industrial output as America, and we're subsidizing them.
Yeah.
Like it's unhinged.
It is, and it's got to be fixed. There's no doubt about it. And one thing I like about Trump always is that, he's enticing companies to come back to the United States. And we got, I think Audi announced they're going to build here. We already got Hyundai building a steel plant for like 25, for millions of cars to be built in Louisiana. So we're going to follow this closely. I just hope the American people can hang on because a lot of people can't take it on the chin anymore, and it's a tough problem. Spencer, where can people find your book and follow you on socials?
Yeah, so the book is available right now on Amazon. I'd love it if people were to buy it and leave a review. It's always a pleasure hearing from people. You can find me on X as well. It's Real SP Morrison, and I post all my articles on my Substack. The Substack handle is also Real SP Morrison.
All right, wonderful. I'm going to download the book tonight. I want to thank you so much for coming on. I hope you had a great holiday weekend, and we'll have you back. Thank you.
Thanks so much. God bless.
Thank you, Spencer. Everybody, thank you for watching Real America's Voice News today. You're watching Breaking Point. Got a great show again next week. And again, hope you had a great Easter and Passover weekend. Thank you again. We'll see you soon.
Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
The bathroom of your dreams is only a phone call away with BCI Bath and Shower. We can make your ordinary bath and shower extraordinary. This is not a cookie cutter design. This is a complete custom build that will fit your every need, and discounts for seniors and military.
Your wallet is always in danger. Criminals can scan and hack your information without you even knowing. Worse yet, it's bulky and so disorganized. But not anymore, because Slim is in. Introducing Slim Mint, an ultra-thin RFID blocking wallet that keeps your cards and cash truly protected. And now may be your last chance to get it for a low price. Slim Mint uses the latest RFID blocking technology to prevent thieves from scanning your wallet and stealing your info.
Having your information stolen is a nightmare, but with Slim Mint, I know I'm protected.
With money clips, cash can easily fall out, but with the auto-locking Slim Mint, your cards and money stay securely in place. Then just press the button to release the lock. Slim Mint is ergonomically designed to optimize space and keep your belongings organized. It has a built-in cash clip and a flexible outer band to securely fit your additional cards and your extra cash. Even with everything you see here in the Slim Mint, it's still ultra-thin. Bulky wallets are uncomfortable, but the Slim Mint is so compact it fits in any size pocket. Plus, it keeps everything easy to access.
Slim Mint holds everything from pictures to credit cards, my driver's license. Yeah, it's still so thin.
Say bye-bye to bent cards and damaged magnetic strips. Slim Mint keeps them protected. It's crush resistant and can really take a beating. Similar wallets sell for over $100. But call or click now and get Slim Mint for just $29.99. Order in the next 5 minutes and you'll get an instant $10 discount. So it's only $19.99. But wait, due to rising costs and supply chain shortages, this may be your last chance to get Slim Mint at this low price. There's a strict limit of 3 Slim Mint wallets while supplies last. You still have time